right, guys, welcome back to the Quarantine Online Open update show. I'm Adam Black. Along with me is Ben Borg. Today, we're going to break down the three final events for the Quarantine Online Open, also catch up with a few athletes, chat to them about how they found the workouts, and obviously go over the final leaderboards for each of the four divisions of the Quarantine Online Open. I'll hand it over to Ben to talk about the RX men.
Storm Patterson, 150 burpees.
Yeah,
get out of here with that fitness. That's just crazy.
it was crazy. I watched his videos because I got him to send him in, and because he was first on every workout this week.
Yeah. He's had a pretty clean sweep. You can't make much more of a charge than taking first place in all three.
Yeah.
So in terms of effort, that's a very well-deserved second place right there.
So I'm joined here by Storm Patterson, who, as the name might suggest, stormed home in the second week of the Quarantine Open to take 3 first-place finishes. Mate, what a finish. Week 2, that was your week to make a move, or those workouts just played out a little better for you, or?
Thanks so much, Ben. That's awesome, man. Intro. I feel like it's hard to follow up with that. Honestly, I felt like all of them weren't really in my wheelhouse, especially the burpee workout. That's been a weakness of mine for the past few years, just being a little bit of a taller athlete. But I figured we got one more week to go. I've been enjoying throwing down in the living room with my cat, my girlfriend.
Yeah.
Let's make the most of it.
So for anyone that hasn't seen the leaderboard, 150 burpees in 7 minutes. And from my chats with Adam, all of them 2 standard as well, which is even more impressive.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Oh.
It's funny, and my business partner, and I guess coach at this point, he's always on me with my burpee standards. So I've been finding that being more consistent with him in training and having him hold me accountable is paying off dividends.
Did you have a strategy going into that, or was it just go hard and see if you can ride the fire?
Yeah, it's funny that you asked that. I went into it hoping to get at least 140. That was my goal, but I had no idea what that pace that was. I remember after the first minute, I yelled to my girlfriend, like, what time is it? Where are we? Roughly 1 minute in, and she's like, 23 reps. And I was like, whew, that's fast. So I held it. I think I held it back for the next 2-3 minutes. And then I think around that 4-minute mark, I still felt pretty good. So I picked it up and held on to it as long as I could.
I love how when you say holding it back, and that probably means that you just backed off to like 20 for those 2 minutes. Very impressive. I ended up being
around like a rep and a half or close to 2 reps less per minute.
Yeah.
When I held it back.
So I mean, look, anyone who's going to come up with a first in the burpees and then back that up with a first in that chipper as well, something like 100 pistols and everything else to go with it. You obviously, do you favor gymnastics, or do you prefer the heavier kind of workouts? If you had to design a workout for yourself, what would it include?
I think it would be a combination of both. Heavy barbell with some gymnastics would be awesome. With that said, pistols is something that I have struggled with, air squats specifically, and actually looking back on that workout, it was the slowest part of my workout. I prefer more of the pressing and pulling, like upper body press and pulling when it comes to gymnastics, but I was really looking forward to that workout because of the thrusters and because of the pistols. Those are 2 movements I've been trying to focus on, and I wanted to go in and give it my best shot.
Oh, you certainly did that, mate, taking a first place ahead of Alec and Cam Kushler, both very, very good athletes. So congratulations, week 2. Perfect, mate. Perfect score, 3 from 3. And Storm Patterson, definitely a name we'll be keeping an eye on all future leaderboards for the next little while at least anyway.
Amazing. Thanks so much, Ben.
Easy, mate. Thank you.
I spoke to Alec about the burpees, and he was like, oh, probably could have got 140. And then you see like Storm come in with 150 and just be like, yeah, totally not worth doing it again just for another 5 burpees to still end up, essentially in second place.
Yeah, because one guy got 139.
But I guess for anyone trying to do like mental math, like you're holding over 20 burpees a minute. So I know I had a lot of clients who tried to do this one as an EMOM and sprint like 20 burpees and then rest for 15 seconds. Oh, yeah. And let me tell you, that was not the play. That was not the play on this workout.
I Googled like a YouTube video for a metronome that beeped every whatever it would have been, like, so I could get 19 a minute. So it was like beep. It was just over every 3 seconds to do one, and I was able to hold that for like 3 or 4 minutes, and then like I just fell off the pace. I was like, okay, just take like a three beat rest, and then like got back on it, and then so I was like able to maintain it for the most part. But I need it. Yeah, I think my fitness just isn't quite there. But
it's always funny when you sit down and do the mental math before the workout, and everyone feels like they're Fikowski with like strategy and how much timing, and then it's just like you're 2 minutes into 7 minutes of burpees, and you're like, I've cooked it. I've gone out way too hard. I would like my goal personally was like 100, like just crack like the triple figures.
yeah,
and just like go out a little overly hot in minutes 1 and 2, and then just try to settle into a pace.
Yeah. Just
until I hit 100 and I still had like a minute to go. I was pretty stoked. So, but yeah, that is definitely not a workout you want to do more than once. Be interesting to actually compare that to 12.1 and see where that 150 reps sort of stacks up against
extra touch. I mean, like he was standing up all the way, but I mean, like no extra reach overhead, standing up, hands above the head, but like that's like 2 inches. Like you have to like jump and reach for a 6-inch touch. It was 6 inch from standing or from reaching height, not just standing height. So like you got to get it's quite a bit further up.
It does. I think it mentally makes a big difference as well when there's a target. You sort of plant more than you really have to focus on your takeoff.
Yeah. Yeah, because you don't want to, especially you have the target. It's not like just a height that you have to invisibly reach, like a pull-up where you just got your chin over at some point. It's like you actually have to physically touch it. So like if you jump or you're not looking up and then you miss it, and then okay, now I got to spend another second trying to find where it is and then get set up again.
And then miss it, and then you have to But yeah, 150. That's a hell of a score. Even I think anything. I mean, Jacob finished with 13th and he said 120. Like if you're getting 120 in that workout, like you're moving, right? Anything that is kind of like that 18 and above per minute for 7 minutes, that's some pretty decent fitness.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, because looking at that too, just a small spread. Like if he like obviously seven burpees, that's an extra burpee a minute. But if he was able to do that, he would have been able to get on the podium too. So just like only like 7 burpees, like 1 burpee a minute, you think, okay, that's nothing. Like just do 1 more burpee a minute, and next thing you know, that's from 13th place. He would have moved up to a tie for 8th place, which would have been 5 points. And when you're only getting 20 points in the whole 6 workouts, or 32 points and 36 points for 3rd and 4th, it makes it a lot more. If only, a lot of if onlys.
There's always a lot of if onlys when you look back over like 2 weeks of competition, right? Especially when you are in contention and it is like an extra rep here or an extra rep there or whatever else. But I mean, you can play the game all day long. A good point to bring up, because I think if we look at the people that we kind of spoke to last week that were leading each respective division, they didn't all take it out in the end, right?
No.
I mean, they take the top of women's RX, but only just, only sort of 6 points in it between 1st and 3rd there over 6 workouts.
Yeah.
And then both scale divisions had a big mix up in the end. So,
yeah. That was the biggest one. The men's scaled, because John, he was leading by quite a bit.
Yeah. So his I think the one that really killed him was that regionals chipper where, like, even finishing it, right? Like if you finished it in the RX division, you were top 5, right? But he finishes it in 17:45 and takes a 14th. Like that's still a pretty solid effort to get through all that work and then to take such a beating in terms of point on the leaderboard. Like that's brutal.
Yeah, so that workout was for RX, 100 single arm dumbbell thrusters, 100 crossbody V-ups or alternating V-ups, some people call them, 100 pistols, 100 dumbbell snatch, but the scaled version, still 100 dumbbell thrusters, but then they got it's only 50 crossbody V-ups, and then the 100 curtsy squats, I think, were the main place where people could speed up on that one, because pistols are kind of a big limiter for a lot of people.
The curtsy squats are still like no joke, right? Yeah. They hurt after the thrusters as well. They put a lot of people down, put a lot of people on their ass. So to still be able to motor through, you're still looking at 350 reps. So another super big long chipper from Shaper this week. That was a brutal workout. That was super brutal. And I actually think definitely that this week's 3 workouts were incredibly tough, and if not, much more tougher than week 1. So I think those guys that waited till week 2 to make their charge, those guys and girls, they obviously love suffering, because I think definitely week 1 would have been the easier week to do it, right? If it had been reversed, it would have been easier to see how, or it would have been interesting to see how things shook out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. My goal for these 3 were to, definitely have some longer ones, have a bit more kind of separation. Definitely throw in that. I like from the get go, like 7 minutes of burpees is kind of definitely on the radar for throwing a workout in, because obviously, again, some people don't have all the gear. They're using different gear than what's prescribed, or heavier dumbbells. So that's like level playing field, no matter what. No gear needed. Everyone can do it. And then you still, like, in 7 minutes, you can retest and you can just see that separation. Like, if you look at leaderboard, you probably have a pretty solid bell curve on that, where, like we're saying with the RX guys, you get like 120 seems to kind of be a pretty good mashup spot. If you're able to get through that up to Storm's spot of 150, like, obviously that's going to be at the tail end of that. So it's like trying to get through that little that peak on the curve there.
Yeah. And I think even if we look at the sprint triplet, in terms of difficulty as a workout, I think coming off DT in the first week, I was pretty confident going into the sprint triplet that, like, this is going to be a workout to get some points. After the first round, I was behind the pace, and there was no, like, coming back from that. Like, that was brutal.
Yeah, that's another good one too. Is also, like, challenge a bit more complexity, or just kind of a lot more cognitive ability, thinking about, okay, I need to pick it up with this hand and the dumbbell, and then in the split, I got to go back with this foot. And there's, like, it's not a lot of rest, where most of the workouts where you're switching arms back and forth or whatever, it's like you got to do all 10 on this one, and then you got to switch, and then okay, you're doing the same movement, then you switch back, but then you're doing a different movement, but you're still, like, there's a lot to think about on that.
I think the cognitive stuff, especially when you're under fatigue too. I saw a lot of people go to pick up with the wrong hand and start doing reps. It's like, switch hands. Like, what are you talking about? Just kind of putting in reps for no score. But the rows were a really nice touch as well. Hats off. Nothing like a good bent over row to get a pump on, and then have to be forced through another 100 reps. So
the workout that was modeled after was the games workout from 2019, where you have, I just remember Noah Olson and Matt Fraser going back to back. Start off with the peg boards. They climb up the peg board, and then they go to their double unders, and they have the dumbbell complex as well. So obviously, not everyone, or very few people, even on a good day, have access to the peg board. So subbing in some kind of pulling action. It's obviously a bit different than a dumbbell snatch or dumbbell clean. So we went with the bent over dumbbell row. Again, very good tool. A lot of people use it more for accessory work, or their bodybuilding, but still a good way to kind of get a bit of fatigue going, still kind of get the same idea as that peg board, where you're holding on to something and pulling up to your body. And you also kind of tax the grip just a bit, but not enough, not really a make or break part of the workout.
Yeah. I think over all 6 workouts, the biggest part of my body that's taken a beat up has just been the top of my thumbs, just from, like, all that grinding on the inside of the dumbbell.
Yeah.
That's a little bit unexpected, but that triplet was almost demoralizing. I think I was like, all right, 3 minutes around, try to pace out the first 2 rounds, and then bring it home. And I think I did my first round in 3:20, and then it was just a slog from there. Just knew I wasn't going to bring that one back in. So if, again, even kind of looking through, the leaderboards there, you finish that workout, you are sitting pretty close to the top, right? Yeah. So kind of a pretty tough one across the board.
Yeah, and it was impressive to see a lot of those videos too come through with people holding to a good standard. Obviously, when you're moving a lot of reps, and for fast, especially with the lighter weights, as a lot of the scaled people were doing, even for their abilities, is kind of on the lighter side. They're working through those reps very quickly, but still, especially with that split, is getting that split, getting the arm locked out, and then bringing the feet back together was important. Obviously, it takes a bit more time, but being able to stay consistent with that probably helped a bit with keeping the heart rate under control as well. But obviously, getting credit for the reps, so we didn't have to adjust any scores on that to kind of lower people down. Obviously, it's a fun competition, but you gotta keep to the standard, especially when there's prize money on the line.
Exactly. It's a fun competition. It's still a competition nonetheless.
Men's scale division, the overall winner, Chase Holderman, out of he's an independent CrossFit athlete from the U.S., I believe from Kentucky he was competing out of. So he sent all his videos in from his carport. A lot of good scores, a couple first places in the last two workouts, that almost 2013 regional chipper as well as the 2019 game split triplet. First place on both those. Kind of the only chink in his armor there on this set of workouts was the 7 minutes of burpees. He looked like he was a taller athlete, scored 114, so still no slouch in that, but was able to.
Hey, 114 is a good score for that workout. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, and not a bad score by any means, and was able to pull out a 2-point victory over second place on that. So congrats to Chase.
And just looking through, like, Leah Dean from Women's RX, 12:17 for that workout. So she's almost 2 minutes ahead of second place. That is insane. Like, she's holding a 3 minute or even less, right? What's that, like a ish kind of round for that, less than. So 2.5 minutes, 2:45. That is flying. Like, that is just that dumbbell would have been a blur on that review video, no doubt.
Yeah, she's definitely a very, very accomplished CrossFit athlete. If you just look her up, I wasn't super familiar with her, but looked her up on the CrossFit leaderboard for the Open. I believe she was 7th in Canada. So that's pretty good score overall in a whole country, being 7th place. And then even the overall winner of that division, Sam Pereira, she was I believe 7th in Portugal. So she lives in Canada, but on the Open she has the Portugal flag represent the Open as well. So it's a lot of top notch athletes at the top of the leaderboard too.
And her partner involved as well in the men's RX division. So good to see that we're spending some quality quarantine together.
Yeah.
A few relationships on the leaderboard there is always fun for house bragging rights. If we're just moving across, looking into the women's scale division, Alexa Tung, again, someone who was sitting top 3 at the end of week 1, came into week 2, 2 first place finishes, and a 4th place finish for the triplet. So again, another super good score on the burpees, 122. She was 5 clear of second place, so just threw in a few burpees just for good measure in that one. And then a 10:04 for the regionals chipper, which again is just flying, and 13:25 for the split triplet.
All right, so I'm joined by Alexa Tung, who raced home in the second week to come from second place heading into week 2 and taking 4 first places out of 6 events. Not a bad finish.
No, it was super good. I mean, I had the support of all my girls from MTM, and they were counting me via Zoom and really pushing me. And I saw your score, Ben, and I was like, I think I need to beat Ben on the 7-minute AMRAP burpees.
Glad that I could be a motivating factor there for you. Is that a workout that would have been your favorite one for week 2? I know I spoke to a couple of the girls from both the scaled and the RX division last week, and all of them said they wanted to see burpees come up in week 2. Is that one of your preferred movements?
I think I like burpees because I'm short, so they're like a pretty easy movement for me, but I wouldn't say I was hoping for 7 minutes of burpees. It was good. I mean, I think most of the events were more like cardio based for me, which is my strength. So I think for me, just having that cardio aspect really helped me.
Perfect. And how'd you go with the split snatches and split clean and jerks? How'd you find those?
My thumbs were so trash. They had bruises on both thumbs from all the snatches. And you would see from my videos the amount of times I said fuck because I kept splitting with the wrong leg. And I had so many no reps count on multiple of the sets.
There you go. So even with all the no reps, I guess potentially cost you your 5th first place there, do you reckon?
Oh yeah, I was freaking out with Sarah. I was like, oh my gosh, should I redo it? Like, she's like, no, it probably only cost you like 10, 15 seconds, but I was certainly concerned.
I think that's a really good element to touch on briefly is that, you know, even though it is for a bit of fun and it's for a good cause that, and I know Adam's been pretty adamant on this too, to still hold everyone to the standard. So really big ups to you for staying true to it and taking the reps, I guess, off your score and redoing them. This says a lot about, I think, you know, the integrity of the sport and the competition as well, which is super important. So congratulations. And finishing in first place overall. Great effort.
Yeah, first CrossFit competition ever, and now Kat is telling me I'm never allowed to compete scaled again. She's like, it was your first one, so okay. But she's like, now since you came first, you got to go into intermediate.
Yeah, that's a really good way to look at it, right? I guess there's a bit of like getting promotion and relegation, right? Just like in the soccer leagues, but an interesting time to be a CrossFitter and be a recreationally competitive CrossFitter as well. What's in the plans for the next 6 months? How are we going to get through and make sure we come out ready to fire at the first opportunity in 6 months' time?
I think for the next 6 months, depending on how long this lasts, I'm still doing my training from home. My studio is still releasing all at-home workouts. All you need is one dumbbell, so I've been continuing to do those, and then obviously staying on top of my nutrition with CAD and manage my macros. I mean, just trying to stay on point and not letting this whole quarantine become an excuse as to why I'm coming off program. I was signed up for my very first in-person CrossFit competition at the end of April, Festivus, but obviously that's not happening now. So I guess for the next 6 months, just starting to build that cardio, starting to build that strength, and hopefully starting a competition in the next 6 months.
Perfect. Sounds like a good plan. Well, we love having you as part of Team MTMM, and big ups to you. Congratulations on being one from competitive outings in CrossFit. You've set yourself a hell of a precedent.
Oh yeah, I know. It's like it's going to be a lot to hold on to and try and keep this going.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks, Alexa.
Thanks, Ben.
Cheers.
So, again, the scale division got some pretty impressive times, got some pretty fit athletes. So be interesting to see, no doubt we'll do something like this again and start to see, how those divisions shake up and which individuals decide to try to take that push and push up into the RX and really test and see where they're standing, right?
Yeah, you can definitely, already take that comparison, just looking at obviously that 12.1 squat, 7 minutes of burpees. Everyone's doing the same workout scaled, RX, men and women, so you can compare that across the whole 4 divisions. Okay, Alexa Tong scored 122 reps in women's scaled. That would have been one of the higher scores in the women's RX. So. And
she wasn't sitting in first by any stretch after week 1, so still had to rally and so that's dig deep, and she should be pretty happy with that. Yeah, and just looking at Kaylee Dodd's scores too, absolutely consistent across the board. She had a second, a third, a third, and a third, right? So she hasn't done too much wrong there and just missed taking the chocolates by 2 points overall. So I love tight divisions. I love when you're, across the board when obviously when you get to watch the big comps and it all comes down to that final heat or that final workout. I guess as CrossFitters, we're all pretty strange in that we enjoy watching other people work out as part of our pastime. But it is exciting when there is something on the line. And, when you go into a gross workout like the split triplet, it does give you a little bit of extra incentive to try to hold onto that dumbbell and really test and see, mentally what you're capable of more than physically. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the reality of competition too, though, right? When you're on a leaderboard, you're on a leaderboard, and I guess that's why it's important to be overly concerned with the effort level you put in and less concerned with the outcome, right? So I always have this hypothetical conversation with clients where I'm like, would you rather go to an Olympic lifting meet and win, but you don't get anywhere near your 1RMs, or PR both lifts, but come 6th, right? And I feel the answer is you'd be better off PRing, doing the best you've ever done, but you finish 6th than taking the win and not doing your best, right?
Yeah.
I guess if you finish 4th and you fucking sold your soul on the 100 pistols to get there, you got to be decently happy with finishing 4th, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's a good way to look at it.
Well, thank you for being a part of it. And I guess if, for those that even just sort of donated just to donate and just to make sure that this thing got up and running, we appreciate that too, right? So without the participation, there is no competition, right? And if there's no competition, it's just you, me, and Dan having a good chat, which is fine. But it's always good when there's a bit of a leaderboard involved. All right, man. Take care of yourself.
All right. Well, thanks for being a part of the Quarantine Online Open, and catch you guys next time.